What if I told you that everything you've ever wanted in life, every dream, every ambition, every goal you've whispered to yourself in quiet moments, already has a formula? Not a maybe, not a theory, not a philosophy debated in ivory towers. A formula, a law as reliable as gravity, as predictable as the sunrise, as certain as mathematics itself. This formula has shaped millionaires who started with nothing. It has transformed ordinary people into extraordinary forces of nature. It has built empires, created inventions, sparked revolutions, and changed the course of human history. And yet here's the strangest part of all. Most people never hear it. Even fewer ever apply it. And the ones who do? They become the exceptions, the anomalies, the 5%. Today we're going to explore the lesson that changed the world. A lesson so profound, so simple, so devastatingly powerful, that when you truly understand it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. This is Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret, and I'm telling you right now, the biggest discovery of the 20th century wasn't made in a laboratory. It wasn't found under a microscope. It wasn't written in equations on a chalkboard. It was discovered in the one place we've been overlooking for centuries, the human mind. Let's start with a question that haunts humanity. Why do most people want more, but never get there? Think about it. Most people want more peace, more money, more freedom, more purpose, more joy, more meaning. They want better relationships, better health, better careers, better lives. The desire is universal. The longing is real. And yet, most never arrive at the destination they dream about. Earl Nightingale looked at society and asked a question that should disturb every single one of us. Why do only a small percentage succeed? Why do some people grow, rise, expand, and flourish, while others stay in the exact same place their entire lives? Why do some plant seeds that turn into forests, while others plant seeds that never break through the soil? And when he looked at the numbers, what he found was shocking, truly shocking. Only about 5% of people achieve what we would call true success. 5%. Think about that. Out of every 100 people you meet, only 5 will reach the goals they set for themselves. Only 5 will build the life they envision. Only 5 will break free from mediocrity and step into abundance. The remaining 95? They drift. They wander. They hope. They wish. They try. But they never arrive. Now here's the critical part. It's not because they lack talent. It's not because they lack intelligence. It's not because they were born into the wrong family or the wrong country or the wrong circumstances. It's not because the world conspired against them. It's because they never discover the secret. They never learn the formula. They spend their entire lives playing a game without knowing the rules. One day Earl Nightingale was reading a book. Just an ordinary day. Just an ordinary book. But inside that book was a single sentence that hit him like a lightning bolt to the chest. The sentence came from Napoleon Hill, and it said this: "We become what we think about." 5 words. That's all. 5 simple words that contain the entire mystery of human existence. Earl read those words, and something clicked. Something shifted. Something crystallized in his mind with perfect clarity. He realized that the problem is not the world. The problem is not the economy. The problem is not your boss, your spouse, your parents, your education, or your circumstances. The problem is not society. The problem is not luck. The problem is the direction of the mind. We become what we expect. We become what we repeat. We become what we picture. We become what we believe. We become what we focus on. We become what we hold in our consciousness day after day, hour after hour, moment after moment. This is the secret. This is the key. This is the formula that unlocks everything. Your life right now in this very moment is nothing more and nothing less than a reflection of your most dominant thoughts. Look around you. Look at your bank account. Look at your relationships. Look at your health. Look at your career. Look at your emotional state. Everything you see is a mirror. A perfect, undeniable mirror of what's been happening inside your mind. If you don't like what you see, the solution is not to rearrange the furniture. The solution is to change the thinking that created it. Earl explained this principle with a story so simple that a child could understand it, yet so profound that most adults miss it entirely. Imagine a farmer. He owns a piece of land. Good soil. Fertile ground. The land has potential. Unlimited potential. But here's the thing about soil. It doesn't care what you plant in it. It doesn't judge. It doesn't decide. It doesn't have opinions or preferences or moral standards. The soil simply accepts whatever seed you give it and returns it to you multiplied. Plant corn and you'll get corn. Plant wheat and you'll get wheat. Plant roses and you'll get roses. But plant nightshade, a deadly poison, and you'll get poison. The soil doesn't ask questions, it doesn't warn you, it doesn't protect you from your own choices. It simply obeys the law of growth. Seed goes in, harvest comes out, cause and effect, action and consequence, planting and reaping. Now here's where it gets interesting. The human mind works exactly the same way. Exactly. Your mind is soil, the most fertile, most powerful, most creative soil in the entire universe. And every single day you are planting seeds. Thoughts are seeds. Images are seeds. Words are seeds. Beliefs are seeds. Expectations are seeds. And whatever you plant, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, whether you do it deliberately or accidentally, whether you do it with awareness or ignorance, that is what your life will grow. Plant fear, and your life will grow fear. Plant confidence, and your life will grow confidence. Plant failure, and you'll reap failure. Plant success, and you'll reap success. Plant doubt, and doubt will multiply. Plant certainty, and certainty will expand. Plant poverty consciousness, and poverty will follow you like a shadow. Plant abundance consciousness, and abundance will flow to you like water flows downhill. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is law. So what are most people doing wrong? Why are 95% planting seeds they don't want and then wondering why their harvest is bitter? Because most of humanity is living on autopilot. They wake up in the morning with no direction, no purpose, no intention, no plan. They think whatever thought happens to drift into their consciousness. They absorb whatever negativity the news feeds them. They react instead of lead. They respond instead of create. They hope instead of plan. They fear instead of build. They never choose their seeds. Never. They let the wind blow seeds into their mind. They let other people plant seeds in their mind. They let circumstances plant seeds. They let past failures plant seeds. They let childhood wounds plant seeds. They let society's limitations plant seeds. And then, when the harvest comes, when their life reflects back to them exactly what they planted, they complain, they blame, they point fingers, they say the world is unfair, they say they got unlucky, they say success is for other people. But the universe is not emotional. The universe is not personal. The universe is not biased. The universe simply returns what you plant. It's the most fair system imaginable. You plant, you reap, you sow, you harvest, you think, you become. There are no exceptions. There are no shortcuts. There are no victims. Only gardeners who either tend their garden with wisdom or let it grow wild with weeds. Earl Nightingale gave the world a challenge. A simple challenge. A challenge that sounds easy but requires more discipline than most people possess. He called it the 30-day experiment. For 30 days, choose what you think. Not some of your thoughts. Not occasionally. Not when you remember. Not when you feel inspired. No. For 30 consecutive days, think only of what you want. Picture the results daily. See yourself living the life you desire. Hold the image in your mind no matter what happens in the external world. No matter what your bank account says. No matter what your critics say. No matter what your circumstances suggest. Hold the vision. Protect the vision. Feed the vision. Nurture the vision. Guard it like a sacred flame that must never go out. Why does this work? Because your mind cannot think two things at once. It's neurologically impossible. If you're focused on success, fear disappears. If you're fixed on the goal, the obstacles shrink. If you're holding the image of health, sickness loses its power. If you're dwelling in abundance, poverty cannot coexist. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending. This is not denial. This is redirecting the most powerful force in your possession, your attention, toward the outcome you actually want. People tried Earl's experiment. Thousands of them. And something fascinating happened. Some quit after 3 days. Some quit after a week. Some quit when the first obstacle appeared. But those who stayed, those who committed, those who protected their mental garden for the full 30 days, their lives changed. Not a little. Dramatically. Their businesses grew. Their income changed. Their relationships improved. Their confidence exploded. Their opportunities multiplied. Why? Because their mind finally had a direction, finally had a target, finally had a purpose. Let me tell you another story Earl shared. During the California gold rush, thousands of people flooded to the West with dreams of striking it rich. They dug, they mined, they searched, they worked until their hands bled and their backs ached, and many of them left disappointed, broke, defeated, empty-handed. They walked away convinced there was no gold, convinced they had failed, convinced their dream was a lie. One man in particular had invested everything, his time, his money, his hope. He dug and found nothing. Finally, exhausted and defeated, he sold his tools and his claim for almost nothing. He quit. He walked away from his dream. But the person who bought his equipment wasn't ready to give up. He decided to check the abandoned mine. He brought in an expert. And the expert told him something extraordinary. Keep digging, just a little further. So he did. He dug just 3 more feet. And you know what he found? One of the richest gold veins in the entire state of California. The first man had stopped 3 feet from success. 3 feet. That's the distance between failure and fortune, between giving up and breaking through, between disappointment and destiny. And this is exactly how most people live. They give up too early. They lose faith too fast. They shift their focus before the seed has time to germinate. They plant new seeds before the old ones have grown. They abandon the vision when the first challenge appears. They quit when the darkness feels too heavy. They walk away 3 feet from gold, 3 feet from the breakthrough, 3 feet from the miracle. But the law of the mind is unbreakable, absolutely unbreakable. Persist with the same image long enough, hold it with enough faith, protect it with enough discipline, and it will manifest. Not might, not maybe, will, because the universe has no choice. The soil has no choice. The mind has no choice. When you plant a seed and give it what it needs to grow, it grows. That's the law. So why do people fail? Earl said it comes down to one word: conformity. People conform. They follow the crowd. They follow the average. They follow the opinions of others. They follow the path of least resistance. They think like everyone else thinks. They believe what everyone else believes. They fear what everyone else fears. They limit themselves the way everyone else limits themselves. And therefore, inevitably, mathematically, predictably, they get the same results as everyone else. The world is full of people working hard, full of people trying, full of people hoping, full of people wishing, full of people praying. But very few people think deliberately. Very few people choose their thoughts the way they choose their clothes. Very few people guard their mind the way they guard their money. Very few people treat their consciousness like the sacred, powerful, creative force that it actually is. And that is the dividing line between the 5% and the 95%. Not talent, not luck, not education, not connections, deliberate thinking. So how do you actually use this secret? How do you take this knowledge and turn it into results? Let me give you the step-by-step process. First, decide exactly what you want. Not kind of, not sort of, not maybe. Exactly. Vagueness kills results. Clarity creates direction. Your mind is a guided missile, but it needs a target. Give it one. Be specific. Be clear. Be bold. Second, write it down. What is written becomes real. It moves from the invisible realm of thought into the visible realm of matter. Writing is commitment. Writing is declaration. Writing is the first act of creation. Third, look at what you wrote every single day. Morning and night. Read it. See it. Feel it. Let it sink into your subconscious mind like water sinking into soil. This is not optional. This is not when you feel like it. This is daily. This is mandatory. This is the watering of the seed. Fourth, think only of the result, never the obstacles. Obstacles are just part of the path. They're not stop signs. They're not evidence that you're on the wrong track. They're just part of the journey. Every successful person faced obstacles. Every single one. The difference is they didn't focus on them. They focused on the vision. Fifth, act on opportunities that appear. This is critical. Belief without action is hallucination. Belief with action is transformation. When opportunities show up, and they will show up, move. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink. Don't wait for permission. Move. Sixth, guard your mind like a fortress. No negativity, no fear, no gossip, no complaining, no low expectations, no doubt, no cynicism, only thoughts aligned with the outcome, only images aligned with the vision, only words aligned with the goal. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is psychological physics. This is mental gardening. This is cause and effect at the highest level. Why does this work? Let's look at what science says. Modern neuroscience calls it reticular activation. Your brain has a filter that decides what information is important and what gets ignored. When you focus on something repeatedly, you program that filter. Suddenly you start seeing opportunities you never noticed before. Doors you walked past 1,000 times suddenly open. Neuroscientists also talk about neuroplasticity. Your brain physically rewires itself based on what you think about most. The neural pathways you use most often become stronger. The ones you ignore become weaker. You literally sculpt your brain with your thoughts. You create the hardware that will run the software of your life. Psychologists call it behavioral priming. When you hold an image in your mind, your behavior automatically aligns with that image. You start making micro-decisions that move you toward the goal. You start acting like the person you're becoming before you've actually become them. Spiritualists call it universal law, the law of attraction, the creative power of consciousness, the principle that like attracts like, that energy flows where attention goes, that the universe responds to your dominant vibration. Earl Nightingale called it cause and effect. Plant the seed, water it, protect it, give it sunlight, give it time, and it grows. Everything in nature follows this pattern. The oak tree is already inside the acorn. The harvest is already inside the seed. The result is already inside the thought. So does your life. So does your destiny. So does your future. Here's what you need to understand. Your destiny is not written in your DNA. It's not written in your birth certificate. It's not written in your family history. It's not written in your bank account. It's not written in your education. It's not written in your circumstances. It's written in the thoughts you repeat daily, the images you hold consistently, the beliefs you carry constantly. That's where your destiny is written. Nowhere else. Earl Nightingale changed the world with one sentence. 5 words that contain the master key to human existence. We become what we think about. If you control your mind, you control your life. If you direct your thoughts, you direct your destiny. If you choose your mental seeds, you choose your harvest. It's that simple. It's that profound. It's that powerful. So starting today, right now, in this very moment, make a decision. Think better, plant better, expect better, live better, guard your mind, choose your thoughts, protect your vision, water your seeds, tend your garden, and watch what grows. Because the strangest secret is not strange at all. It's simple. It's ancient. It's been taught by every wisdom tradition. It's been proven by every success story. It's been demonstrated by every person who ever rose from nothing to something. And it works. Not sometimes. Not for some people. Always. For everyone. Without exception. You are the farmer. Your mind is the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. And your life is the harvest. What will you plant today?